Lily Singh actually emailed me, like not herself, obviously the show emailed me and was like, hey, can you tape tomorrow? Do you have a late night set? So when they said that, I was like, yeah, I have like 500 late night sets.
Watch Netflix.
I'm addicted. It's insane. Like my algorithm probably knows me better than my own mom at this point. Like it's bad.
What are your thoughts on the world of stand-up comedy in the time of the COVID-19 pandemic? How have comedians strived? How have comedians gotten creative due to limited face-to-face engagement with fans?
In terms of like how have comedians strived, I think a small portion of us are, and I think the majority of us are just struggling, to be perfectly honest, you know. Like for like every Sarah Cooper, who is somebody who, if you know, does the famous Trump TikTok voiceover videos that went viral, and her career just like exploded. Like for every one of those, there's like 100,000 comics just struggling. I think comedians who are already kind of doing things online, just in terms of like podcasting, videos, people like comics who had a large social media presence are prospering. And then some of us, of course, are transitioning into doing that more. So it is interesting to watch people I've never seen like do sketches start doing sketch comedy, or like listening to some of my friends' new podcasts and like some of them really taking off. And it's fun, you know, it's fun to watch because you don't get to see a lot of, like, personally, I'm someone who works a lot of behind the scenes. Like I write jokes that a lot of other people say on camera. So it's just interesting when people like me start getting in front of the camera themselves, you know, and then you get to see like, oh, okay, cool. Like I didn't know you had that in you. So it's been surprising and fun.
That's an interesting perspective, since you write comedy.
Yeah.
So you know about how multifaceted you have to be, the different areas of comedy you get into, like video and podcasting and stuff. Do you have any advice for young South Asian female comedians who want to enter the industry?
It's interesting because a lot of my advice would be the same as I would give anyone, which is like, the more diverse you are, the bigger your skill set, the easier it's going to be for someone to pick you up, you know, like I've trained as a writer, an actor, a stand-up. Like I've had to do all of these things. I mean, it goes as far back as Mitch Hedberg talking about comedy, where they're like, if you're a stand-up comic, they're like, can you act? I'm going to butcher this joke, but he's like, no one walks up to a farmer and is like, can you cook? You know what I mean? Like I butchered that, but it was just like,
it's okay.
That's been the history forever. So it's so important to be multifaceted. And I also think social media is a huge important tool that I have always kind of sucked at to my detriment. And I think it's especially important I think it's a great avenue, rather, as people of color, to put out your own content and prove yourself. Because unfortunately, I'm trying to figure out how to say this nicely.
Say whatever you want. I mean,
a lot of executives, a lot of companies, like they look to make money in ways they've made money before. So if you are something that hasn't been done, it's a lot harder for someone to want to invest in you, versus if you have a proven product. Like let's look at Broad City. They had such a successful web series that they produced on themselves. They had that proof of concept. Issa Rae had Awkward, I think it was called Awkward Black Girl, the web series before, and it was successful. And like it's so much easier because, like, let's be honest, until the guard changes, still a lot of heads of development are like generally older and white, not necessarily like people of color who are tapped into your viewpoint or like have experience with you. So if you're something new to them, it is just so much harder to get people to invest and to get things made. And it just helps via social media, via YouTube, via going out and making what you want is so powerful and helpful. So just other than like hard work preparing for everything, I think also just going out and being what you want to be and not waiting for somebody to okay it is really important.
I completely get what you mean. Just creating your own content, doing your own thing, paving your own path, but also like, I guess it's like with Kamala Harris, is just being the person who does it first. Or if not first, just do it.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. So what material, which comedians have inspired you to get into the comedy industry?
Well, when I mentioned representation, the first comedian I ever saw was Russell Peters. So I got into comedy for like a really lame reason, like all of it. So that I think that was like the first instance of like a comedian really going viral online, and all the Indian kids in my high school like loved him. So, and they hated me because I didn't know anything. I missed temple all the time because it was the same as soccer practice. I was like, they would be talking about shit. I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying. So and then when they like fell in love with Russell Peters, I was like, oh my God, if I can be like Russell, I'll be funny. They'll think I'm so cool. So he was the first reason I went into comedy. And then I quickly realized that wasn't my lane or my voice. And the more I did it and the more I explored, I found like inspiration in, I absolutely love Maria Bamford. I think she's so funny. Just like in terms of one of the ones I was watching, like when I first started, loved her so much. Bill Burr, Chris Rock was always a huge hero of mine. And like more recently, I was blown away by like Ali Wong and Roy Wood Jr.'s comedy special. It's just like front to back, just like so tight and like incredible. From like nothing else can create that other than just years of unrecognized work finally getting a platform. So it was just like so amazing to see them do their specials and to have them like knock it out of the park. It was like, I don't know, inspiring. You know?
No, that is inspiring. That's a very eclectic roster of comedians you listed who've inspired you in your career path. One last question. You ready?
Yep.
So I am a fan of her late night shows, and I just think it's super cool that you did this. Tell us more about your debut on Lily Singh's late night show.
So this was actually super weird, and I think it kind of speaks to the nature of the industry and like not giving up as much as like, I don't know, like I'll have people look at me and be like, oh my God, you're so successful. But like there's been a million failures for everyone's success. And you hear that, but you don't really internalize how much that's the truth. Like literally right before I taped her show, I was working with another late night producer who had told me I was going to film in January. And then after making me work with her for a year to nail down the 5 minutes that she liked, it was like, okay, you're going to tape in January. And I was like, great. And then she was like, oh, we have to push to March. And I was like, okay. And then I followed up, and then she just stopped answering. And my late night set. And that was like, I've been doing stand-up for 13 years. Like I've worked with multiple bookers of late night and then just have them randomly stop answering me. And it's like, I've made so many tapes. Like I have wanted this for so long. And like, I literally sent that one producer at least like a half an hour worth of late night sets, just like different iterations. So Lily Singh actually emailed me, like not herself, obviously the show emailed me and was like, hey, can you tape tomorrow? Do you have a late night set? So when they said that, I was like, yeah, I have like 500 late night sets. So I literally sent them one and they were like, oh, that doesn't work. Do you have another? Send them another one. They okayed
You're
it.
prepared.
And then like, yeah, it was so fast. I mean, obviously I think somebody dropped out, but it's like, she's like, can you film tomorrow? And I was in New York and I was like, yeah, I'll hop on a plane. I'll be there. So it was like so last minute. And it was just like, it was just hilarious because it was like years and years of like working with this one woman for like a year, having it like, you know, disappear and all that other work. And then literally one day, less than a day. And then I had to go film that set, you know, wearing like a $10 H&M dress, you know, like I didn't.
Nice. H&M, $10. I love the deal. I love it.
So it was like, it was crazy. And like when it happened, so it was kind of those things where it's like I've been trying for so long so that when it finally did happen, I don't think I was nervous really. I was just like relieved and excited and like grateful to finally be able to put this stuff out. So yeah, it was awesome.
That's such a cool experience. I like that you were preparing for so long. and you were patient. You have the patience, like extreme patience. And then, like, I wouldn't say stroke of luck because you worked super hard to get to where you were. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's just weird.
you
And
worked
it's like
so hard.
so many comics have that story where it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's literally, I think it's like somebody's horrible like poster hanging up behind them in an office, but it's like where opportunity meets preparation. Like,
Yes.
that's what a lot of it is, because like you can't control the opportunity, but if you're prepared, like
Mm-hmm.
it just you know, hopefully at that point the universe doesn't like, you know, block you. But
I mean, these are all the questions, but I'm really excited about your stand-up in October.
then, you know, I'm excited too. I think it'll be a really fun show.
And I love the advice you gave. Basically, like, basically be prepared and
Yeah.
create your own content. Like, that's wonderful advice for future comedians and for everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Of
Subhah, for
course,
the
no.
interview.